Hi there everyone, welcome back to the channel. So in this video, we are going to learn about how to build your own custom hook in React. So custom hooks are really important concepts in React. It promotes code reusability. So when you reuse your code, it enhances your code maintainability and scalability, right? So custom hook becomes really important from that perspective. So let's just say you have a common functionality that you want to achieve and you're using it into several components. Then it's a good idea that you can build a custom hook of your own and then call that hook again and again so that you can reuse it, right? So in this video we are going to see a fetch custom hook. We are going to create a use phase custom hook, and then we are going to see how can we build our own custom hook. So in the, as you can see, I've already initialized my create react app, so you can do that as well. And then inside the source folder, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a folder which I'm going to name it as hooks. All right, and inside this I'm going to create another folder which I'm going to name it as use phase. All right, so let me edit it again. So whatever the hook that you are creating, you can name that folder accordingly inside your hooks folder. So here I'm going to simply name it as use fetch. All right, so inside the hooks we have this use space folder. Inside these I'm going to create one more JavaScript file which is simply going to be index.js. Now inside this I'm going to simply create a React component which is going to call use fetch basically. All right, so this is the custom hook that I want to create, and it is going to be simply called use phase, and it is going to take some URL and options. Let's just say we want to pass some sort of a payload or something like that, which is going to be empty by default. So here we are simply going to make a use phase which is going to make a get request, that's all. And now when you are fetching the data, you want the data right from the API, you need the loading state and then the error state as well. So let's go quickly and create those state, right? So first we need the data. So I'm going to do set data. I'm going to create a state which is going to be set data, and I'm simply going to say use state. All right, and I'm going to put it here, and by default this is simply going to be null. And now let me quickly replicate it, and I'm going to say this is going to be loading. All right, and this one I'm going to make it set loading, and here by default I'm going to make loading as true, because as soon as I call this hook the loading starts. So by default the loading is going to be true. And here this is the error component, and here error state basically, and this is going to be set error, and by default the error is going to be false. So our states are clear. What are the states that we want to export? Now that is done, now let us simply create a use effect hook so that when the component is mounted, we want to fetch the data, right? So, and we want to do that operation whenever the URL changes, right? So I'm putting URL inside the dependency array in this case. All right, and since we are making an API call, so this is going to be an async request. All right, or even the better idea would be to remove async inside this, and I'm going to simply say const fetch data here. All right, and this is going to be now my async function, and here I'm going to fetch the data, and here I'm going to simply say try catch statement I'm going to use. All right, and then inside this I'm going to simply fetch the data. Oops, and here let me do const. All right, and I'm going to take the response is equals to await fetch. All right, and this is where I'm going to pass the URL, and if the any options is given, then I'm going to pass those options as well here. And here I now inside the options, inside the response, I'm going to check whether the response is okay or not. All right, so here response dot okay it gives you, and let's just say if the response is not okay, then I need to throw an error, right? So I'm going to simply say throw new error. All right, and then it is going to throw an error. This is going to say an error, and let's just say I want to throw simply the error status. So I'm simply going to say error dot status. All right, here, that's it. We are done with the error handling part here for the status, and now we need the result, right? So in order to get the result, we are simply going to say result is equals to await response dot json. All right, now here we are going to get our data, and we can log our data as well here, and then we are going to check the data. Just for the testing purposes, we are logging it out here. In the production environment, you can remove the log as well. And here in the set data, we are going to simply set the result so that we can send the result. All right, and here inside the catch block, let's just say if there is some error, then we need to pass that error, right? So here inside this, I'm going to pass that error, and let's just say I'm going to pass that message, whatever the error message that is coming from the server. And I need one more block which is going to be finally. So this finally blocks executes when the try or the catch statement finish executing, right? At the end of the day, no matter whichever the blocks gets executed, either the try or the catch, once the block get executed, at last the finally block is going to executed always. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the set loading false here, right? So that we can remove the loader part. All right, so the function fetch data is done. Now we need to call this function here. So I'm going to simply call the fetch data function. So the fetching process is done. Now we simply need to return the data. All right, so I'm going to say return, and whatever the things that we need to return the data, we need to return loading, and we need to return whatever the error is there, right? So these are the things. So this is the custom hook that we have created, guys. Now we just need to import this use page hook. All right, and like here what we can do is I haven't exported as well. So let me come here and simply say export default use page. All right, now this makes much more sense. Now we have written our common hook, right? Custom hook, which is a use space hook. Now whenever we want to fetch the data, we can use this, we can call this use space hook, we can pass the URL and whatever the options that we want to pass, and then this hook is simply going to give us all the data that we need. Like from the API call, we need the data, we need the loading state, and we need the error, and it is going to return, right? So let's look at a particular demo as well here. So I'm going to come here, and let's just say I'm going to say here I'm going to get the data, right? And I'm going to get the loading state. I'm going to take that loading as well, and I'm going to get the error as well. And here we need that use phase. Okay, now let me remove this part here. Okay, let me remove this as well, and here I'm going to simply call that use fetch hook that we have created. Okay, it is importing use effect. I need use fetch that we have created. Okay, so for some reason it is not suggesting. I guess we haven't exported properly. Okay, so I have exported use effect. Okay, let me fix that. Now it should work. All right, so let me come here and retype it again, and I'm going to say use space. Okay, now it is suggesting me, and now I need to pass the API endpoint here. So let's just say I'm going to make a dummy API request to the JSON placeholder API. All right, so let me come here and type JSON placeholder API. I'm just going to come here, and let me scroll this a bit, and if I come here, so I'm going to get some dummy APIs. Let's just say I want to call this list of to-dos. All right, so this is the data I want, or let's just say I want list of users here. So I'm going to get this data list of users. This is the API endpoint that we want to call, and I'm passing it here. That's what. And here this API is not taking any sort of extra request, just an endpoint. So I'm not passing anything. The options we have initialized empty by default. Now let's just say when it is loading, if it is in the loading state, this would return as simply loading, right? So I'm simply going to say return loading. All right, and now similarly, let's just say we got some sort of an error. All right, so if you're getting some sort of an error, then it should say error, and let me remove this, and we are simply going to throw the error, whatever the error that we found, right? And after that, if once the loading is completed and we haven't got any error, we have got our data successfully, then we can simply show our data. So let's just say, let me simply use the pre tag here, and then I just want to show the data here. So for that, I'm simply going to do json.parse, because I cannot directly put the object data inside the screen, so I just need to stringify it, not parse, so that it gets shown in the screen. Or all right, so for that reason, I'm writing this json.parse, and inside that I'm going to simply put the data. So there you go, we have called our use space hook, and let us go here, and it is giving me, let me refresh it, and there you go, we got our data. And you can notice, if I refresh it, you're going to see the loading as well. So here it is showing loading, and then after that we got all our data, and it is logged out here as well. We got all our user data, the company that is user working on, user's email, name, phone, and everything that we got here, because we have logged inside this our hook, right? So this is the result that we have logged. So due to this, we got the log data here. And similarly here, basically, we in the pre tag we have stringify our data, and for that reason we are able to see our data here as well. So this is how you create a custom hook, basically. So whenever you have any common functionality that is going to be reused again and again, then in React you can create similar kind of custom hook, and then you can reuse it again and again. It promotes code readability, maintainability, reusability, and scalability as well, guys. So this is a really good practice to use custom hooks. So let me know if you like this video. Please hit that like button and subscribe to this channel as well, and I'll see you all in the next video.